Comic Book Savant, episode 443. Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant podcast. I'm your host, James Harris. In this episode, we're going to be doing a trade review. We're going to be talking about Red Hood Outlaw Volume 1, Requiem for an Archer. But before we get into the trade review, I just want to give a shout out to my homeboy and brother from another mother, Mr. Heath Holland, over at Serial at Midnight. You can find the website at serialatmidnight.com. You can find him over at YouTube at youtube.com/serial at midnight. You know him from us doing the Spinnerack Bros here, and we do collaboration videos over on his YouTube channel. The last collab we did that hit his channel was talking about AMC A-List, their subscription service. Is a really good conversation about movie theater subscription services and how they affect the industry, and how using different services like that, how they affect you and how useful they can be. So it's a really good about 17-18 minute video that we talk about that, and we do similar videos like that on his channel, and we are looking to do some video content on my YouTube channel coming up in the future, but for right now we're keeping it as the Spinnerack Bros episodes that we do here. We do have more of those coming in the future, so be on the lookout for those. But just check him out again over at serialatmidnight.com for all this content, and then you can find a YouTube channel at youtube.com/serialatmidnight as well. And follow him on social media if you haven't it as well as Serial Midnight, because someone already had Serial at Midnight. So just on social media, do a search for Serial Midnight. You should be able to find him there as well. Now to what we're really here to talk about, which is Red Hood Outlaw Volume 1, Requiem for an Archer. It's published by DC Comics. It retails for around $12.99. It is written by Scott Lobdell. The artists that were on the book is Pete Woods, Clayton Henry, and Neil Googe. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Googe. Inkers on the book were Pete Woods, Clayton Henry, and Wade Van Grabadger. And the colors are done by Rex Locust, Pete Woods, and Marcelo Maiello. And the lettering is done by Troy Pateri and Taylor Esposito. This trade collects Red Hood and the Outlaws Annual Number 2 and Red Hood Outlaw issues 26 through 31. Excuse me. And the breakdown as follows. Banished from Gotham and estranged from the Outlaws, Red Hood takes up residence in Appleton, a town that is a secret haven for criminals. And when he gets his hands on a crowbar and starts handing out some bloody justice, it really stirs up the hornet's nest. Now, rogue players in the underlife decide to team to take him down. And I hadn't really, to be honest, I haven't read a lot of DC just in general recently. I haven't really reviewed a lot. I've been changing that recently through the help of Hoopla, which I've talked about before, which is the digital media service that you can use if you have a library card. You connect to get digital media. All the big comic book companies and just companies in general, you can find all types of content on Hoopla. Comics, digitally, movies even, music, digital books. I've talked about it. I've done a whole video on it on the YouTube channel. So if you're interested in more information, just go to youtube.com/comicbooksavant. Do a search for Hoopla. You'll see that video there. It's a really good video that really breaks down the service and how it works. And I've actually talked about it in a few past episodes here. But anyway, since I've been using Hoopla, I can check out 2 books a month through that. So I normally have now been going through, because it's been so hard, because most of the time, even when there's sales on like Comixology, which I use to get my digital comics, a lot of times their trades are still way more expensive than other companies. I haven't read a lot of DC because I just really couldn't afford it. It's gotten a little bit better since they've joined Comixology Unlimited, and I have DC Universe. Plus, I have Hoopla. So I've been going back, trying books that I've really been interested in, but I just couldn't afford. And this is one of those books of, I heard they did a rebranding, that it was Red Hood and the Outlaws, and they did a whole revamp recently. I had read some articles that it was a big blow up where he got banished from Gotham, and they did this whole rebranding of Red Hood Outlaw. So this is the first volume in this from coming out of this rebranding. And I have to say, I really dug it. It was a fun read. And, it was funny when I saw Scott Lobdell because, I read a lot of Scott Lobdell's work in the 90s and early 2000s. And then I hadn't really seen a lot from him. People have, various opinions of Scott Lobdell. I've read a lot of stuff that I thought of his was good. He did a good run on X-Men in the, I want to say this, was it 90s or 2000s? It was one where it was a huge storyline with X-Men in space, and I used to love how he used to write Rogue and Gambit together. He really got them to me, and so I've always been a fan of the majority of the stuff I've read of his. I've always liked, so I've been a long time fan. I hadn't heard his name associated with more recent books. I've seen his name flash up here and there, but they weren't books that I got around to reading. So this is the first thing I've read of his in quite a while. I feel like it's just a perfect fit. His style of writing, his cadence, and how he understands his characters that he writes. I fell right back into it. Was like a hand to a glove. It was just like I never had left his writing. It's so familiar and have just the easygoing, like I said, cadence and tone and feel to it that I could sink right in, and I blew through this book. He really, to me, because Jason Todd is a character I know a little about. I never read Under the Red Hood when they brought him back into the universe after years of thinking Jason Todd was dead. Excuse me. I saw the animated film and I really liked it. So I saw that version. I don't know how much it differs from the source material because I never went back and read it, and I want to at some point. And I've only seen Jason Todd here and there in certain Batman or Nightwing or Grayson stories or Robin stories as popping in and popping out. So this is the first time I've read, a book kind of dedicated to him. And I felt like he did a really good job for someone like me that doesn't know a lot about the character. He made his, character development, and really made me care about the character to want to read more, to see what his character is going, seeing what his journey is like, seeing him trying to learn from his mistakes and realizing his faults and trying to come to terms with all of that. It was a few scenes in there between him and Roy, which was a member of the Outlaws, that leads up to him going into rehab and Sanctuary, and that leads into Heroes in Crisis, which is really cool because I'm starting to read that, so I'm seeing Roy's story where he was at right going into that storyline. So that's really interesting. And reading this, unbeknownst to me, is going to have without any spoilers, because I don't want to spoil anything, but certain events that happen in Heroes and Justice, it gives it way more impact now because I kind of know certain things about certain characters that I didn't know going into that. It was a really good interaction between him and Bruce in one of the issues that was just so well written, and you don't normally see Bruce in that light or Jason. And it was just, it made the whole, those two parts really made this whole trade for me, because those moments where it really defines a character and relationships the character has with other characters, and really showing when all the facade and everything comes down, who they are at their core. And I thought those two scenes summed up Jason Todd in a nutshell so well. And like I said, he's a flawed character, but he's more aware of his shortcomings, and you see as the book's going on, he's learning how to come to terms with his faults in his own way. And that's what we all have to do in life. That's a life thing. That's not a comic book thing or a hero thing. That's life in general. No one's perfect. I know for sure I'm not. But I think I always go into each day with the attitude of it being better than I was the day before, no matter by how small a margin, but just being aware of whatever I did the previous day, I know it was things, if I look back at it, I could have approached differently or better or calmer, and I strive to be the best version of me I can day in and day out. So I really identified with him on that as well. When I go to the artwork side of things, the artwork was really good. I've always loved Pete Wood's artwork. He's a kind of like a DC mainstay at this point. I've seen him work on so many different books and seen his artwork. Clayton Henry, I'm familiar with his work over on Valiant on a few different books. I want to say Ivan, Time Walker, also Archer and Armstrong. I've seen his work. I've seen his book on a couple of books over at Valiant that I've read and reviewed, and he's a really really tight artist. I really like his style. Neil Ghosh, I'm not familiar with his artwork. It still fit in there. All artwork did a solid job, and the style fit well with the story they were telling and with the action beats, and it wasn't any jarring shift between art styles. They're all very competent, good artists, and then, sometimes you do get from issue to issue, or if someone fills in a spot or a blank here, that it can be jarring because the styles are not matched well. They did a good job that none of the styles are exactly the same, but they're in a similar vein to one another, so it wasn't like, you could tell they're different artists, but you'd be like, oh, wow, who drew this to who drew that? You know what I mean? They were equal, and that's good, because sometimes, they use the jarring effect with two totally different styles to maybe show a shift of this is a flashback and this is current day and things like that. And then certain books, you just got a bad artist and then they put a good artist on, and you're like, oh, that's good. That's not that good. That's awesome. And it's like, wow, it really changes the dynamic. Here, it was smooth sailing all the way through. It was just good artwork from beginning to end. After reading this volume, it really has me stoked to kind of see where Jason Todd is going to go on his journey. They kind of left it open that he's about to make some major moves, and I'm going to look to pick up the next volume, be it through Hoopla or me actually buying it. And that's the one thing that I'm finding, using a tool like a Hoopla or even Comixology, where I have Comixology Unlimited, and now DC is a part of it, and you can check out certain books. I'm finding myself that I'm rediscovering series from DC, and we talk about it a lot, especially in our Facebook group, the Savant Society, on Facebook. If you haven't checked it out yet, it is facebook.com/groups/the Savant Society. Request to join, and I will add you as soon as I see your request. We talk about comics all the time and trying to stay current because there's so many books out, and having the money to afford to be able to buy all the books we want to. So, through a subscription service like Comixology Unlimited, through DC Universe, through Hoopla, I use all these systems and buying comics. I still buy comics digitally. I don't just subscribe and the only books I read are free books through Comixology. I still buy stuff. I still look for sales and pick up books. It's prompted me that, like with this book, even though I read this trade through Hoopla for free, I would buy it. I'm committed enough going forward. If I saw it and it was on sale, I would buy the next volume of the Red Hood Outlaw book based on how much I like the first one, which I feel like it's a good avenue. I'm finding that what I think a little while ago I did a review for the new Teen Titans book up here. I think it was called Full Throttle, and because they had rebranded that book, and I really liked it, and I can't wait for the next trade to come out. I'm going to buy that next trade and do the review on it. So it's really cool that it's turning me on the books. And like I said, it's been so overwhelming with Marvel and DC especially. I'll be on the fringes too, and I review a lot of Image stuff when I can, and Valiant. I bounce around as many places as I can, and I like I said, I got disenchanted with DC for a while, so I'm slowly going to see, after coming out of all these events, and they got new events coming up, and they're always launched, both companies are, so it keeps me on the fringe sometimes, because I'm like, I don't know necessarily sometimes know where to start, know what to pick up, what's good. I really just go by what I see, what catches my eye. If I've heard a lot about it and I'm curious about it, I just pick it up on a whim sometimes. It's no set process for me. So I'm glad I'm slowly but surely through these different avenues have come back around to DC, because I'm seeing that I missed out on some good stuff. And it's been 2 for 2 so far. Like I said, the Teen Titans I've enjoyed, and I want to continue to read. And coming out of this Red Hood Outlaw Volume 1, I want to read more about the Red Hood as well. So, I think it's a good thing. So again, there's so many different ways to go about it, but reading and trying comics, never be afraid to get out of your comfort zone and pick something up, because you just don't know how you might like it. Just don't spend too much on it. If you see something, like if you're kind of on the fence on it and you're not gung-ho about it, wait till it go on sale, or if you're subscribed to some of these services, or try some of the services and try some books that you're kind of on the fence about. And you might find something you like, and you might replace it. You might have a book that's kind of at the bottom of your pile, and you're like, I like this better, and swap it out. So it gives you a little bit of chance and room to explore. Again, Hoopla, I think it's hoopla.com. You can go there and check out all the details. If you want to sign up for the service, all you need is a library card from your local library. And I know for me, I signed up for mine online, and I got hooked up to Hoopla within 3 to 4 minutes. It wasn't a long process. I went to my public library, set up an account. They emailed me my library card number. I took it over to Hoopla, synced it up with them, and I was on the site browsing within 5 minutes from the time I started at my local library website to their website to picking out books. And the quantity of books varies depending on your library. For me, I only get 2. We talk about it sometimes because it was from people in the group, the Facebook group, as well as some of the viewers on the YouTube channel that suggested Hoopla to me. And sometimes they say they can check out 6, 8, so it just varies. So you won't know till after you get your library card and sync up with the service how many you're allotted in a month to check out. Again, for me, I only can check out 2 digital items a month, and they don't have to just be comics. Like I said, they're digital books, they're audio books, they're movies. So it's a lot of different stuff there. I think TV shows, but all forms of digital media that are 100% legal, that these companies are contributing to the public library system for us to use. So it's a really cool service. I like it. And again, it helps me experiment on some books that I necessarily don't want to pay for. And I get the chance to read them, to try them out. And then, like I said, I've found a lot more books than not that I liked, that I have bought or looking forward to buying in the future through it. So it's a really cool deal. So check that out if you have a moment. That's all I really have for you guys from this episode. I appreciate all you guys' support. If you want to help support the show, I have a Patreon campaign up. You can find it. It is patreon.com/comic book savant. You can contribute as little as $1 a month, and you can get access to a whole new feed. It's the Comic Book Savant Extra feed, where I do a whole nother weekly podcast for you guys. So you get double the dose of me. So instead of getting the 4 episodes, you get 8 episodes. If I can talk, 8 episodes. And I also do some behind-the-scenes stuff like that. And there's some other bells and whistles. But if you go to the page, you'll see what's included in all the different tiers. And like I said, for contributing just $1 a month, you get extra podcasts for your support. It's just my way of giving back to you guys for helping me maintain and grow the show. You guys have helped me so much. You can't even imagine how helpful you guys have been, to me, and inspirational as well. So check that out. Also, I'm on social media on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram at Comic Book Savant. You can always send me an email on the website. If you go to comicbooksavant.com, it's a contact page. You can send it right from there. Or if you want to send me an email directly, you can do it at comicbooksavant@gmail.com. So you can reach me at all those different platforms. Again, I thank you guys again for all your support. Check out the merch as well. Got the merch store up, a Teespring store. I have a store link on the homepage on the website in the top navigation bar, so you can check that out. You can see I have a Comic Book Savant logo, then Savant Society for the community, and we got new designs coming in the next few weeks, so be on the lookout for that as well. And that's all I have for you guys for this week. As always, I'm your host, James Harris. This is the Comic Book Savant podcast. Until we talk again, you guys stay safe, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.